You're listening to Punchline with Kelly Pavlik and James Dominguez. And today we're going to be touching on boxing, some upcoming fights, and, a basic show today. We're doing something different as far as the show is going and as far as producing. But, we're going to try to keep it interesting.
For sure. I think what's exciting today is I think we're using a new system to record today. Instead of using our studio, we went out and about and went and recorded in a whole different place today, which I think is really awesome.
Yeah, I like moving around too. Gets tired, boring sitting in one place all the time. So.
Sitting in the studio, yeah. So what do we got coming up this month?
I don't know exactly this month.
We got the Hall of Fame.
Oh, you're talking, okay, I thought you were talking about, the Hall of Fame's coming up. You got good fights in Georgia that I'll be going down to and actually commentating.
In Atlanta, yeah.
Yeah, Atlanta. So be staying busy.
Yeah, I think Terry Moss is promoting it. She's a pretty good promoter. She was a world champion as a woman boxer, which is pretty interesting.
Yeah, she keeps herself in shape. She runs a great stable. The gym, I guess, is 15,000 square feet.
That's what I heard. It's huge. So I heard that.
She's had a lot of people in and out, from entertainment stars to great boxing champions. So it's going to be neat to get down there. She's putting a pro-am show on too, so there's supposed to be really good amateur talent. Yeah. Some guys, their last amateur fight before they turn, before they end up going pro. So it kind of reminds me of after I got back from the Olympic trials, I had one more fight back in Youngstown as an amateur, before I turned pro. So.
What do you think about those pro-ams? Do you like the fact that the pros and the amateurs are on the same card?
Yeah, I do. It depends on your amateur. A kid just beginning his amateur career, I'm not a fan of that. I just think that they're getting a little taste of something that they haven't really worked for. I think it's good for guys that's been in the amateurs and are getting ready to turn pro to get a taste, even though they're still really not, but the fight atmosphere. Because, there's still a difference between pro boxing, going to that live, and going to an amateur fight live. But no, in certain situations, I think it's pretty good. I think
it is a good thing. It's supposed to keep these guys together in the same realm. A lot of people get this whole thing mixed up. What was I going to talk about? The other night, I had this guy on there, and I tried to explain to him, we're talking about between sparring and actually fighting. We were talking about this. And he was like, well, I guess he has one or two bullshit pro fights. So he tells me, well, what do you know about it? I said, I had about 150 amateur fights. He goes, amateur fights and pro fights are two different things. I said, yeah, I understand that, granted. But let me tell you something. You with your one or two pro fights, me with my 150 amateur fights, I'd make it a short night. Mm-hmm. You have no amateur experience. You have one or two pro fights. It'd be a short night for you.
Yeah. That shit pisses me off too. Boxing is the one sport where you could be, paving driveways or selling cars, and if you're fit enough, you can you can register to get a license, or put in for a license, a pro boxing license, and that does not qualify you as a pro fighter or even a boxer.
Yeah.
And it's a shame, but that's why them guys are mainly, I don't even think they feed those guys to prospects or good fighters coming out of the amateurs, because it's just really a waste. So that's not boxing. Them guys don't know one thing about it. Usually the situation is they're a promoter and that type. If they need to fill in a fight card, a pro card, the promoter will help take care of getting him licensed. So he don't even really know the steps behind that.
He'll pay the $55.
Yeah, he goes to the gym a little bit, and he gets to his trainer tells him where to show up, where the fight's going to be. They get in there. Usually they'll have somebody come in and wrap him, and then he goes and fights. That's not boxing.
Yeah, exactly.
And it don't mean that you don't know one fucking thing about it.
But I think it's the elitist attitude. Well, I boxed one pro fight, so you can't tell me anything. I can. But anyway, we have some questions that came in that I wanted to ask about. We have one coming from Damon Martinez, one of our buddies.
Oh man, I can only imagine what this one is.
Damon Martinez asked, As a coach, what are you telling a kid going into his first amateur contest? What did you need to hear when you were a novice amateur?
That's a good question. My big thing with that is just the most important part is making sure your fighter is able to go to 3, or a minute and a half or whatever it is, depending on the age group for a novice fighter. Mm-hmm. At that point, a lot of that becomes conditioning. Mm-hmm. Believe it or not, I mean that is the biggest part is conditioning. How many fights have we seen any amateurs where a kid goes in there with all the skills in the world and peters out after the first round?
Well, throwing 300 punches too, just not.
Yeah. So the training camp would be pretty much, me personally training a novice fighter who has one or none, no amateur fights, would be like a lot of intervals on the bag and just a lot of hand mitts, a lot of combos, getting him into used to throwing punches, a lot of punches, and obviously the right punches too, though, because down the middle, usually in a novice division, if you throw straight punches, it's probably going to be straighter than your opponent's punches, and then you slowly. But as each fight goes on, and each camp goes on, I shouldn't call it a camp for amateur fighting, but each time they train for an amateur fighter, get ready. Then you slowly, with a novice guy, you're slowly breaking them in also on the right combos, the right techniques, slipping, how to slip.
What kind of things are you telling your fighter in the corner though in his first fight?
Again, stay down the middle, have your straighter punches, get there quicker. More so concerned about what I'm doing in between rounds, pulling his pants out a little bit so he can breathe easier because, again, conditioning. But yeah, hands up, keep your hands up and keep your punches down the middle. That's about all you can do.
Yeah, that minute.
With the novice fighter because he's not even fighting a good fighter where you could actually have a strategy to, he's got a good jab. Listen, I know you don't kind of know what you're doing, but I would stay to to your left more. Keep moving to your left. But you got another novice kid probably that he's fighting. You have to. It's novice and novice, so there's not much you could do or say.
I think our case, when we both started, we were both 7, 8 years old.
Yeah.
So the things we needed to hear from our corner, right? Me personally, was just encouragement.
Exactly.
That's all I wanted was encouragement because you're at that age. I didn't understand, like you say, a left hook from a fishing hook at the time. I was throwing punches. All I wanted my coach to do was saying, "You're doing a good job. Keep working or keep going." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't quit. I just want to hear, you just want that positive reinforcement. I don't want to hear, "Oh, you're stupid. You're doing a bad job." Like you hear a lot of coaches do on kids.
And you're right. And going back now thinking about it, I've worked a lot of these. They were called high school KO drugs tournament.
Yeah.
And they, which is 45-second rounds, and they go in and they fight. And a lot of times you could still also, I guess, now that I'm breaking it down, you got a lot of kids with their heads down, arms swinging. Hey, take a step back, and then when he does that, take a step back and throw.
1-2.
Again 1-2 down the middle, because obviously a 1-2 they'll know if you trained them for a novice fight.
Yep.
And obviously leading into that though, sparring is a little bit of time to work with a kid on that, but during the fight, keep your punches down the middle. If it's a slap fest, take a step back when he swings those wild punches and then come right back down the middle. And encouraging, like you said, keeping them motivated to go back out there and to keep doing it. Even if you got to lie to them and say, "Oh yeah, you're winning," but you got to keep it up.
Yeah.
So
yeah, Damon, I think what we basically agree on is just encouragement. I mean, that's all you can really do with these novice guys, with the novice kids. One fight, there's not too much skill you're going to give them. There's not too much thing you're going to implement on them. So what you're going to do is just go over the basics with them and just drive it home.
It's like trying to explain to a 5 or 6 or 7 year old when they do something wrong. But you have to try to explain to them as where a kid could understand.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing as far as like novice. You got to tell them the right things, but to a way that they can understand you and make it easier.
All right. Well, we have another question from Jesse Perez. His question is a little long, but we'll get through it. It says, "Hello, Kelly and James. I saw the Anthony Joshua and Vladimir Klitschko bout. And I thought it was all right. Maybe because I didn't watch it live. Don't like how Vlad extends arms for defense. That is why he got caught several times. His hands should be tight to his chin with dipping and movement. Joshua got tired, not a good sign. Overall, Joshua was on point. Is there such a thing as a great chin in the heavyweight division? Joshua versus Ortiz, Wilder versus Pula, Fury or Pavlik? Next, absolutely. I don't see him doing well against any other fighters. And that's the first question. We'll do the second one in a minute.
Okay. First of all, I think Vladimir's reason with the arm extension is, and it's worked for him for a long time, because of his height. I mean, he was dominant, a lot taller than most of the guys he fought, and it worked.
He's fighting range.
Yeah, and it worked. Plus, it's that European style, the old, not the new style they have, but their older style. They fought more straight up and down. They used, even if they were short, they fought tall, and they were awkward fighters. And me personally, I think that style actually has helped him as Joshua fights and even the Tyson Fury, because it still makes, he's fighting guys his height and taller, but it still makes it hard for them to, really catch him clean, because he's so up and down, leans backward, awkward style. As far as good chin, that is a good question in the heavyweight division. What I always tell people, anything could happen. I mean, and this is not like just saying this, but it's almost like a scientific proof. Mm-hmm. I gotta imagine anytime you got somebody over 210 pounds, two guys that are, especially knowing how to punch, the knockout is going to happen, and it's almost inevitable in some fights unless they're both so exhausted that they can't really land anything of any significant power. But yeah, anytime you got two grown men, professional athletes and professional skilled fighters that are that big, your brain can only handle so much trauma, and your neck can only take so much trauma, and that's why you see so many knockouts.
200 pounds is a big man.
Exactly. I mean, and again, like I said, not only that, but you're also looking at guys this day and age that are 6'6", 6'7", 240, 250 pounds. So yes, it is very hard to have a good chin. Even if you do have a good chin, you're more so likely in the heavyweight division to see a lot more knockouts than you would in a junior welterweight and junior middleweight, lightweight division.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that. I agree exactly. Also, a lot of times Klitschko and then the Russian style held their hands out like that was to range their opponent. Mm-hmm. We've learned over the years, though, American fighters and some of the guys down South America, you can range by using your feet too now.
Yeah. And
that's a little safer. But they still range by leaving their hands out. Kasha Zud was big for that. He would range using his hands.
Yeah.
And that's how he put Zab Judah to sleep. He was ranging him that whole first round. He took a little bit of punishment that first round. I thought he was going to go.
And you know what? That's a frustrating style too.
It is.
I mean, it really is. Like, to be honest with you, I'd rather have somebody with the foot movement than putting their arms out, because you're throwing. You ever be playing around with somebody and they keep doing that, and you go to do something and they got
stick it out again.
Yeah, and it kind of like holds you back and pauses you and everything else.
That's when you start knocking it down and going over the top.
Yeah.
But we got another question on the same thing. You're going to have you on that topic. Jesse asked this question. Kelly, do you think if you would have foot movement like Lomachenko, side to side and hand speed, you would have beaten B-Hop and Sergio? I'm not saying you necessarily had to have exact movement like Lomo, but just enough to throw opponents off. I know you were a stalker and countering with power, but adding those to your arsenal would have made you much better.
Yeah, well, first of all, hand speed. That way I get a good amount. My hand speed was obviously good, and I was able to obviously in a fight before I knocked Jermaine Taylor out. My hand speed, and he was an Olympic bronze medalist. There was rounds that I won due to the hand speed, and obviously the right hand to knock him out was hand speed in the second Taylor fight. But yeah, foot movement, at the beginning of my career, coming out of the amateurs, I was a hell of a boxer and moved and was in and out. But towards the end of most of my career after that, I would say from 2004 on, I was trained to become a power puncher because the knockouts were there coming big time. And when I would catch pads with my trainer and when I would spar, everything was back them up, chop them down, and throw the big bombs. And that's how I fought. I mean, we had a small ring, but catching pads, there wasn't boxing, there wasn't angles. it was 1-1-2, 1-1-2-3, and how loud could I make the pads snap so it could get the attention of everybody in the gym, and we all looked good, Yeah, so, I did, but at the same time, I picked off a lot of punches. And, as far as going back to that, the Hopkins and Martinez fight, again, I'm not here to make excuses, but that wasn't 80% Kelly Pavlik that night of the fight. And, there's well-documented proof of that, too, for both of those fights. But, yeah, a lot of times I really sit there and think about it, like to go back if I would have kept that foot move, a little more foot movement and stuff like that, like I had early in my career. I think that could have, helped a lot. I
agree. And also something that some of the fans and boxing people out there, they don't realize. Footwork is not what Lomachenko does. He has great footwork, but that is not standard footwork. That is rare.
Yeah.
Footwork is not going laterally around the ring in circles. That's not footwork. Footwork isn't changing these super angles that Lomachenko does. Footwork is to put you in range to punch and take you out of range to be countered. That's all footwork is. That's Mikey Garcia, great footwork. He just does enough to put himself in range and get himself out of range. Kelly, you did enough to get yourself in range and get yourself out of range. That's footwork.
Out of 42 fights, I had 34 knockouts.
A lot of people, they don't realize that because you didn't run around the ring like an asshole. You didn't run around the ring like a fucking asshole. That you didn't have footwork. That's not footwork. A lot of that is wasted movement.
Yeah, you don't win a world title without having footwork.
Exactly.
You don't
win a world title without having defense.
Exactly. So yeah, but I guess more so, I think his question was like the flashy footwork, though.
Exactly.
To where it grabs people's attention.
A lot of that flashy stuff. What is it? It's wasted movement.
It is.
A lot of people love Pernell Whitaker. Great defense. But then if you stop and look about it, how often did Pernell, which I'm going to get a lot of shit for this, but how often did Pernell put himself in position to counter? When he did, though, when he ducked them shots and slipped them shots, he didn't counter him.
No, it looked good.
It looked great.
And then he'd either walk away because he was out of range.
He was out of range.
And that's a very good point, though. And how many fights could Pernell Whitaker probably have ended early if he would have just moved enough out of the way, made him miss, and was able to counter the guy while he was wide open? But instead, he was too far out of range.
That's why he has 40 fights and 16 or 16 knockouts.
Going back to Lomachenko, he does move around the ring a lot, but that's just because he can. But he also does a lot of – the reason why he has great footwork is because he does a lot of great footwork movement right there in the pocket and makes his guy miss in midair and counters him. So, but like James said, he's kind of one of a kind. Him,
Rigondeaux.
Yeah, Rigondeaux is same type fighter to me. I mean, actually, you got two very rare fighters that you're not going to see like that a lot.
No. But there are guys. I'll tell you another guy who's underrated.
Real quick, and I keep the Hopkins fight. That's why I say people because he beat me convincingly, and he did. But you go back and you look at Taylor beat him twice, whether it was controversial or not. And I thought Taylor won those fights. And then I go in there and what I do to Taylor 2 times.
Beat him.
That goes to show you that it was an off night. I know styles make fights, but it has to show you that if I was able to beat Taylor twice, knock him out the first time, and Taylor and Hopkins had, which was even more in Hopkins' prime too, to boot. And it goes to show you that that was not a Kelly Pavlik that night.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That right there, that's all the proof that you need. Well, if Hopkins went in and dominated Jermaine Taylor and then dominated me, then you say, hey, Hopkins is that good. But to see how close those fights were and then how, you have to be able somewhere along the line to see how I fought, it just, so that right there. And then again with the Martinez fight, hey, he beat me, man, fair and square, but that was a big weight issue in that fight. And I thought there was actually a lot of good moves and a lot of punches that I picked off from Martinez that wasn't credited for.
Exactly. And a lot of the thing is too, what people don't realize is when it comes to those fights, you had medical problems going on during those fights too, during that Martinez fight and everything like that.
Yeah, well,
you didn't mention that.
No, Martinez was the weight.
Yeah.
That was why it was the last fight, and I say to this day, I kind of wish I'd go back and just have them strip me of the belts, come in like the pound over or pound and a half, because I wasn't fighting. I was done at middleweight anyways. So if they would have stripped me of the belts, it wouldn't have made a difference. You know, because that was my very last fight. And the biggest thing about the Hopkins fight, that was the one where it ended. Like, first of all, I went into that fight with the bad elbow. I had the bursitis, and then with tendonitis, and then that's when Robert Garcia, Stephen Webb and
Steve Luvano,
Luvano, we put the prescription when I had bronchitis in Atlantic City 3 days before the fight. We put the prescription in his name.
Yeah.
And that fight should have, I should have not have canceled. The whole reason for pushing that back, why I didn't, I would have got a lot more shit. That's when I had the Paul Williams fight fell through and all that.
Yeah.
So I was kind of getting heat for that. Everybody saying I was ducking. I was ducking Paul Williams. So
ducking a welterweight.
Yeah, exactly. I ducked the welterweight to move up to light heavyweight and fight one of the greatest of all time.
That's the way fans are.
Yeah.
They don't think of that through.
So I kind of, that was the thing. I couldn't push that Hopkins fight back because I was in a hot seat at that period of time. And if I would have done that now, I would have really took a lash before that. And plus, all the fans in Youngstown, the tickets were already sold out for that fight as soon as it was announced. So I was worried about that. So I just said, screw it. I sparred three times for that Hopkins fight.
Yeah.
That was it, the entire camp. So that goes to show. And, and again, the lethargic, that comes from the medication I was on for bronchitis. And I didn't know that. So.
Were you in shape?
Yeah, cardio-wise, hell yeah.
You just...
we picked up because of the fact of the lack of sparring. The road work game became freaking rigorous as shit, and the road work always was pretty good. But I always sparred a lot of rounds on the pads. But even the rounds on the pads, we had to be careful because the bursitis, which is the bursac, too much trauma on that will actually irritate it and make it flare up again. So we had to watch how much contact even in pads. So it was really not much you could do.
No, not at that point. There's not too much you can do at all. So, getting back to my point, we were talking about a little earlier about defense and being out of position and punches. A lot of people don't realize, and a really underrated fighter for that was Gabriel Ruelas. Oh. He would make you miss, and he would beat you by inches. Yeah. A lot of people, when you hear defense fighters, no one ever talks about Gabriel. And the guy would make you miss. He had Zuma Nelson swinging at shadows in, what was that, 93?
Yeah. Another one just like that, a legend, and I think he was a great fighter. I think this is why he could beat a lot of pound-for-pound guys today. Julio Cesar Chavez
Senior. One of the greatest.
But just that unbelievable technical fighter who didn't have to be fancy, but made the right moves at the right time to be in position. Another one you sparred with, who was unbelievably slick, but drilled a circle, a hole in the middle of the ring, was Paul Spadafora.
Yeah.
That's why I always say, this is like the third show in a row now I said this, boxing is a game of inches and angles. You want to make people miss, but you don't want to be fancy about it because it goes for naught.
It does.
Now you're out of position, you inches and angles because you make that one angle, that 1 inch move, and you're still in range to counter back over top of him.
What about Michael Nunn?
Oh, Michael, I forgot about that. Nunn was unbelievable.
Michael Nunn, defensively. Mm-hmm. I know we're going to say James Toney, but James Toney was another one. Yep. He'd make you miss by inches.
Yeah, and make you pay for it. Yep.
People got to where their punch stats were down into single digits because they didn't want to punch them.
Mayweather is really good at countering, but what really makes Mayweather so good is he tires people too because he'll make you miss and you'll swing a lot and he may not counter, but he's tiring you. You know what I mean?
His timing is awesome.
But he tires you and he's not getting tired because he's really not moving much. He's shoulder rolling.
Yeah.
And then, here and there, he will counter you. So now your brain's going, fuck, I'm getting tired. He hit me with that one. I had a flash of bright light.
Yeah.
As where other guys, like we said earlier, they make you miss and it goes for naught. And people may say, well, yeah, but you're missing, so you're getting tired. Yeah, but that person is also expending a lot of energy making the other one miss, so they can be flashy.
True.
The only one that was real flashy and making people miss but made them pay was Prince Nassim.
He made him pay.
He would make you miss, and he'd be way out of range too. But somehow, some
He
way,
had quick feet.
yeah, he hopped right back in range and made people pay for that.
But
too.
like I said, you live by the sword, you die by it. Kevin Kelly almost had him that night when he did that with Kevin Kelly.
Yeah.
He hopped in and Kevin Kelly caught him at the end of the punch.
Barrera had him that
Barrera
night.
just had his number.
Yeah.
And
Didn't
that
have his number. Barrera fought a perfectly executed fight.
he was composed.
Yeah.
And I don't think Barrera did anything special. I think Barrera just fought his normal fight.
Yeah.
But I don't think Prince Nassim was expecting a guy who could take his punches, which Barrera did. I mean, you're taking Eric Morales, you're taking Espinoza, you're taking everybody, and not getting knocked out. And I mean, and I
agree with that, but I also just think that he fought a tactical fight. I mean, these guys get, like me, what I was saying earlier, they get knocked for not being overly fast and not being slick. But that's because they're not flashy when they're doing it.
Yeah.
Okay, Barrera was a fast fucking fighter, had quick hands.
Yeah.
And of course you're going to say, oh, well, no, you don't know what fast is.
Anybody who fights at 122 is fucking fast.
Well, but to be where he was at, he was fucking, had hand speed.
If you ever want to see hand speed, put him and Morales in Barrera Morales 1, and you'll see hand speed. Both of them throwing those shots.
But all them guys, but they were the typical Mexican style. So they were considered come forward, take a shot, give a shot type fighters. Mm-hmm. Okay? But motherfuckers got hands.
Yeah.
And that was kind of the same with me because I wasn't, bouncing, jump roping across the ring, around the ring. I wasn't fast. Obviously, my punches were fast enough to win 40 fights and only lose 2. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And it knocked people out. That's another thing when people will say, oh, you're just a power puncher. Well, he lands that power punch on top-level fighters.
Yeah.
So you just don't hit a top-level fighter with a slow punch.
If that was the case, every top-level fighter would get knocked out in the bar.
Exactly. So it's just, it's weird to really break that down.
I'll tell you what, though. I'm happy Barrera's going to the Hall of Fame.
Oh, hell yeah.
I'm happy. And Johnny Tapia.
All them guys should, though. I mean, like you just said, Eric Morales.
Eric Morales already went.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, last year.
Yeah.
But
I mean, how could you not put him in there?
It's amazing. I mean, and then we got who else? You got Steve Farhood and Barry Tompkins going in, and but not a lot of fighters this year. Evander Holyfield, Johnny Tapia, Eric Morales. That's about it.
Yeah. For
the 3 fighters this year. I think the Hall of Fame's kind of got away from the fighters and putting all the non-participants in now. 20 non-participants and 3.
Well, and that's understandable. There's a lot of, without some of the people, boxing ain't boxing either. So I do agree with like certain people with certain commissions that held big fights. Obviously like your Nevada State Commission or your, what would that be? New Jersey,
California,
State Commission. So, yeah, people that were behind the scenes on that had made these fights happen. Or that brought the fights to that state. So I think that's there is.
Well, your first year of eligibility is next year.
Yeah, it is.
That's exciting.
And I seen somewhere. I mean, I don't know if that was just something out there, but I was on the ballot.
You're on the ballot.
Yeah, we'll see though.
I'm sure you'll get in. And then I would like to see you get in the same year with Gennaro Hernandez and Fernando Vargas.
Oh, that would be great.
Having all 3 of you get on there.
Yeah. That'd be nice.
I think you and Gennaro finished out with basically the same record. Lower knockout percentage, but he was 40-2.
Oh, he was? Mm-hmm. There you go.
He was 40-2. I think he was like 17 knockouts though. Gennaro wasn't a knockout puncher. Yeah.
And he fought at a later weight class where knockouts are, not as common. So.
He was a technician. Mm-hmm. But and then you have Fernando.
With Fernando, that would be awesome because I was a fan of Fernando, and even though I was pro already when he was fighting in his world title fights.
Yeah.
But the way the time he was just far enough ahead of me, where his career was at the end, and mine still was just right at that world title peak.
Well, and you guys have a good connection. I mean, you have a family connection, kind of. You know what I mean?
No, they're all good peoples. I talked to Fernando here and there a couple times, and he's doing well, and there were some things that he, we could help each other.
Oh yeah,
It'd be interesting to see. I like to get there this year, but with everything that I have had going on, I don't know yet. I'm still up in the air.
Well, if we do, we're gonna have to leave tomorrow, day after tomorrow. So it might be better next year or whatever.
Yeah.
All the short notice stuff is terrible.
Yeah, it is.
So I think maybe I know we're doing Atlanta, and I know we're going to Dallas. We're going to be in Dallas in July, so we're going to set up a seminar, boxing seminar, and people are welcome to come out. It's going to be at Texas Select Boxing over in Rolette, Texas, with Christine Lopez's gym. It's open to the public. Everyone's welcome to come. I don't have exact prices or anything, but I don't think it's going to break the bank, So, but you'll come out. You're going to give a seminar, or we will, and then you're going to do a Q&A and autograph signing session and everything.
Yeah.
It's going to be a good time. They're going to have food there, and they're going to do the exact opposite of what they're supposed to be doing. They're all going to be there at train, but eating tacos.
Yeah, that's, well, I could eat the tacos though.
You can eat tacos.
We're
We're in Texas. We're going to eat tacos.
Yeah, my seminar.
But so I know we've talked about this. So what do you think about Broner Mike? Any on the new updates, anything like that? What do you think about that fight?
Again, like what we touched on before, I think Mikey will win that fight, and not being biased, but I just think, as we always talk, his style of fighting, his defense, I just think he has a lot of very good tools that he utilizes very well. He got the power in his punches, he's got the hand speed, and I see the flaw, like what we talked about Adrian Broner. Adrian Broner is a really good fighter for one style, one way. And that's when he's winning a fight, or if he knows that he could win the fight, and even if it's close, if he knows he can out-edge somebody, he'll do that without getting hurt. Mm-hmm. But when he gets pressured or somebody's in his ass, he don't know how to adapt. And against a Mikey Garcia, I just see that being a very difficult fight to win.
I believe that fight can end by knockout. I really do. I think Mikey has the power to knock him out. And
people can't say the size.
No.
Mikey's been in there with big fighters.
Exactly. Well, people are saying the size difference, and they're saying the skill difference. I don't know what they're seeing when they're talking about skill difference between the two.
Not either.
Broner's out-skilled Mikey. I mean, Broner doesn't keep a high punch output, and that's going to hurt him, is not punching.
Yep.
The only way to absolutely beat Mikey, or for Broner to beat Mikey, is to up his output and try to outbox him. Because if you out-punch this, you're going to try to punch with this guy, you're in trouble.
And again, I'm going to go on the. That's why I'm starting to laugh when people say the shit they say. Adrian Broner style. The reason why Mikey is not considered close to Adrian Broner's speed is because Mikey don't fight like Adrian Broner. Yeah. Adrian Broner fights that flashy style.
That Cincinnati style.
Yeah, but also mocks the Mayweather. Mm-hmm. And that with the check hooks and quick punches like that, where people say his hands, that Mikey's not comparable to Adrian Broner's hand speed. Again, that just goes to show the novice thinking of some boxing fans, as where Mikey Garcia's hand speed is the same, if not faster, than Adrian Broner, but his is just more technical and is not as flashy.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So
the thing is this: I've been sending you sparring videos of Mikey over the past, few days. He is breaking sparring partners down. Like he's just hitting hard now. I don't know if it's the fight that's doing it. I don't know if he's just getting mean all of a sudden, but he's hurting people in there,
Yeah, he is.
I've seen Broner spar too. He looked pretty good himself. I'm not
going to go back. But Mikey was sparring to people where they say that he's not the size or nowhere near as big as Adrian Broner, and he's sparring big dudes in the ring.
Brandon Rios and Maidana?
Yeah, exactly.
And Maidana, who walks around 190 pounds, 200 pounds?
Mm-hmm.
And they were saying he's never worked with big guys. I'm like, he works with Rios, Maidana. Who else do they have in there? A lot of big guys.
Yeah. Well, Rios is notorious for being
Huge.
big going into camp.
165, 170.
Yeah, and even when he's down, I mean, Rios is not a small.
He's a welterweight. Rios is a welterweight. He's a solid 147.
Yeah, so.
That has a punch, 147. And what did Brandon say? Nobody hits harder than Mikey. He's never been hit that hard in his life. And you know what?
That's what
when
I
you
tell
have
people,
five people saying
he's
that.
Compact, technical. He throws his punches down the middle, and they're fast. He makes those right moves. His defense is superb. So again, going on that, and I don't understand where people get this. And even if Adrian Broner beats him, which I don't see, but I'm just saying, if he does, I was still not going to change the fact for me saying Mikey Garcia is fast and can hit hard and is a hell of a fighter. It ain't going to change my opinion.
No. No, exactly. Whoever wins this fight, they're gonna earn that win.
Yeah.
I just don't see how Broner can win this fight. We were talking the other day. Sean Porter walked right through Adrian Broner.
Yeah.
He did drop Sean at the end, but Adrian Broner got walked through.
Yeah.
And he don't think Mikey's going to do the same thing?
Yep. Now, the only thing on that, Porter's a bigger, stronger
guy.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about with his hands, though, not just. See, everybody knows Porter has that third hand.
See,
it's called his head,
where Mikey's footwork, how he's going to use it would be able to stop that. Mm-hmm. Again, I kind of just want the fight to happen. Just that way we could see the result, and in that way it solidifies what we're saying.
Exactly. What do you think about Ward Kovalev too?
Interesting. I'm leaning towards Kovalev again.
Me too.
But I'm not going to change my opinion on the first fight. What happened? We had Roger on Romo, and he tried arguing that a little bit. I thought Ward made a good transition that second part of the fight.
He did transition.
Was it big? Did he do enough to win the fight? Absolutely not.
I still think he was down 2 rounds.
Yeah, I don't see hitting somebody with a body shot on a clinch, or maybe just one, because there wasn't enough going on in that round to give him a round, and say he won it. But he made. What I say he made a difference was where he wasn't getting hit with them big punches anymore, or many big shots at all.
It came down to Kovalev not doing anything and Ward just doing enough towards the end.
Yeah. So,
and I think Kovalev wore himself out. I think he punched himself out early.
I think in this fight, Kovalev will be in better shape, and I think that for Andre Ward to win this fight, he's going to have to do more than what he did in the first fight.
Yeah.
Which leads to the fact of now he's leaving himself open more too.
Mm-hmm.
So,
exactly.
That's the way I look at it. He's going to have to do more, and when you do more, now you put yourself in harm's way a little more too. So
exactly,
it'll be interesting.
Oh, I agree 100% with you. Also, there's another big fight coming. Joshua and Klitschko Part 2 coming. What do you think of that? What's going on?
Yeah, that was one of the questions that they had talked about, earlier when we were talking about the style and everything else, and the chins of heavyweights. It's another fight again that anything can happen. Personally, I didn't really give Klitschko a chance that last fight.
No.
6 years ago, I would have said Klitschko hands down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm not just saying that because I seen this last fight.
Yeah.
But I just thought, even after the Tyson Fury fight with Klitschko, it just didn't look like him, even though he fought a guy an inch taller than him, which is, or an inch and a half taller than him. He didn't look good. He looked old. He just looked like his time had passed. And then, he surprised the shit out of me in this fight. He fought a hell of a fight and was on pace to win it.
Yeah.
If I had to go again, pick this fight, I would probably go with Joshua again, just due to the fact that
the age,
and now Latimer is older again.
I still believe the heavyweight division's up for grabs. I really do. I don't think there's nothing settled there.
Yeah, and the only thing is, if Joshua could find some way to lose a little muscle, which if it's genetic, which I think a lot of it is, it's going to be hard for him. I mean, how do you not have that much muscle?
That's like asking Evander to lose his.
Yeah, so I would try to stay away from as much any lifting You know, if
start getting to plyometrics,
Yeah.
things like that. More calisthenics type exercise. You know,
Yeah, because he's already got he's already going to have the size and strength.
Yeah.
So that's going to be there. So there's no real need to work on that during the fight. But I think that was a key factor to him being so muscle weary so early in that fight. And it's going to be interesting to see that one again. You know what? To be honest with you, it's been a while since I've really been interested in a heavyweight fight.
Exactly.
You know, the only one that could really grab my attention, it would be Wilder versus, you know, a Joshua or Ted Ortiz or somebody like that. You know,
I'm not impressed with Wilder. I never really have been.
no.
Especially after the last fight when he threw the overhand punches.
Yeah.
I was done. I was done.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, you know what? But
Well, I think the memes, the meme videos of that made it worse. But you know, I wouldn't even really thought about it until I seen that. They had the one meme where they just replayed it over and over. You know what? But Deontay Wilder shows a lot of. I'm not saying it, but he shows a lot of skill and speed for a heavyweight.
He does, and he's athletic.
Yeah. So what I'm going on, if he could fine tune some of that shit and fix some of that nonsense he does, he may be the one to really reckon with in the heavyweight division. Though.
If he could fine tune it, but is he disciplined enough to do it?
And has he fought anybody yet that, you know, like you go with the Klitschko's. Klitschko has fought a guy now, you know, taller, that looks taller than him, and the guy is the same exact height as him.
Yeah.
Okay. Deontay Wilder hasn't fought somebody, hasn't been in there, and I think Klitschko's the same height as Wilder.
Yeah, he has 6'6".
You know, so that's going to be another test for Wilder because he's used to being a lot taller than people. Believe it or not, heavyweight division, I mean, a lot of guys ain't that big. You know, they're around my height, you know, which is 6'2" is considered tall, but,
yeah.
You know, but you don't see too many until now, recently, but for a long time, you really didn't see too many heavyweights that were 6'6", 6'7", you know.
Exactly.
You've seen between 5'11" and 6'3", you know. But so, yeah, with Wilder, I mean, if he could fix some of those things, I see him being the one really still, because of his boxing ability that he potentially has.
Yeah.
You know, just not in spurts. If he could use it the entire fight instead of some of the things that he did a couple times in his last fight.
Well, I seen our our producer Joe. One of your shows went on Reddit, and you had the comment people coming out on Reddit. Now they were talking about who would win between you and Triple G. Did you see that on Reddit? And then I think something on that. It's made its way to Facebook too now.
Yeah, well, I thought that was like Boxing Insider or something.
Yeah, but it was on. They put it on Reddit too.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I don't know. They went over that 100 times with you already.
I know. I still, you know, after watching that Jacobs fight, or not, Jacobs. I don't know. You know, maybe I was just one bad night for him, but the fights before that too. You know, again, I think just my style, my size, and the way I fought. You know, there wasn't a lot of credit given to me, and and there is too. So I mean, but that's boxing too, and you got to take it. You know, that's why I'm in a lot of boxing groups, and I see like the matchups, and you know, I don't let that bother me. That's why you don't see me on there like, fuck you, what are you talking about? I'd lose that fight. I think it's actually interesting to see people's opinions and what they think.
Well, it's good because they haven't forgot you. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I've honestly, to be dead honest with you, I mean, I've been getting these dream matchups for a long time.
Yeah.
And I've been retired 5 years. But, no, I mean, take it another way. Triple G's a good fighter, man. He hits like a fucking mule. But I just don't think that he's really fought in the true middleweights. And I think we've seen when he fought in that, not even a super good middleweight, just a good big middleweight. And I've seen, you know, kind of what happened. Yeah. So imagine, you know, I think I was bigger than Danny Jacobs. I'm taller, an inch taller than he is.
Yeah.
You know, I think I was a big middleweight, just bone structure, everything. And obviously the power of my chin. So I think that would have been a fight. Triple G, going in that fight, Triple G knew that his training camp was going to have to be something very intense because it ain't going to be a 3 or 4 round fight. It's going to be a 12-round fight with a lot of punches being thrown at him and with a lot of power behind him.
Yeah.
So I think that's the way, you know, I look at it.
That's true. That's true. And so what do you think about the current middleweight division now? I mean?
I'm not impressed with it. You know, and there's nothing you can do about it. I mean, it's just the way it falls. It happens in boxing. I mean, you have laws and you know, you got periods of time where a division is just not what it was. I mean, we've seen it with the welterweight for a little period of time.
It'd be nice if we could move the featherweights and the welterweights up to the middleweights.
I mean, but just a lot of those weight classes, you know, super middleweight. I mean, it's just really, as of right now, there's a lot of prospects coming up that's going to, you know, that'll make that a very good weight class. But who knows where them prospects are going to go once they get to, are they going to be small enough to still fight 68? Will they be at light heavyweight? You know, so right now it's just ain't nobody really there at that weight. It's not like a welterweight or a lightweight. You know, it's just the fights are hard to make.
They are hard to make, and they were going over that the other day too on the business aspect of boxing. How many people out there nowadays they believe that fighters are scared of each other. Oh well, so and so, like whatever they said. Oh, Mikey's scared of Lomachenko. That's not the way that fights work. They're not scared of each other. I said it's business. It's really hard to make a good fight.
Again, it's just, you know, but can you imagine football players got to sit there and say the same thing about their fans?
Yeah.
You know, when people sit there, armchair quarterbacks, and why did he leave that team? They fucking sell out, this, that. You know, again, athletes are not, they don't sign their contract and work their entire life for that person sitting on, you know, 46 Bright Street to, you know, please them in their life.
Well,
you know, their goal is to make a lot of money, be a all-time great athlete, and the best at whatever their sport is. That's their goal. But going back to what you're saying, the fighters take the blame, and 99.9% of the time, it's the promoter. Okay, and it falls on the fighter though, because they don't say Bob Arum and this person. You know, Bob Arum's name gets thrown out there, but that's not the blame. So it's easier to say when a fight falls through. Okay, for instance, like 2 times with the Paul Williams. One time I did have the staph infection, and the other 2 times was just a broken negotiation between not camps but promotional companies. Mm-hmm. Okay, so but it fell back on Paul Williams and me, mainly me. The fighters get the blame, and it's the negotiations behind the scene. It's not the fucking fighters. You know, fighters are not the boss.
No.
If a fighter can't demand, if he goes in there and says he wants 2.5 instead of $2 million, he's not going to probably change. There's a very good chance he's not going to get that 2.5 million, the extra $500,000 that he wants. So how the fuck is he going to negotiate or stand in a position to negotiate a $20 million fight where the promoter could try to bring in for himself? You know, like
when the fights are announced, they're given a budget. These promoters are. They said, "Wait, we're going to give you $3 million for this card, okay?" And that's for the whole card sometimes, not just, you know, the main event. So, okay, everyone else is going to get bullshitted, 25,000, 30, 50, whatever. Main event's going to come around. You're 2 world champions. One champion's going to get 1.25 million. And then let's just say there's, you know, they're already towards the end of the card. His opponent's going to get $200,000. That's it. And that's all that there's room.
And that's the only time maybe with a fighter they could say, you know what, I'm getting gypped. You know, if you're a world champion fighter, you could turn around and say, I understand that's all you got left to offer me, but I'm not taking it. I'm not
taking the fight.
Yeah, you know, that's like a very rare and only time that happens. And you're right. The star power. For somebody like from like a light or a junior welterweight down, and it's been that way in boxing. Very few of them, besides the Pacquiaos and Mayweathers, it's always been that way. They make less money, okay?
Even Tyson didn't have control of his career.
Yeah, so like star power is the big point. Like your networks will come. If you have a Mayweather, people like that, obviously they're going to come and they're going to give the promoter a bigger basket of starting money, okay? They're going to a lot bigger basket. It goes on the star power of the fighter. You know, like Lomachenko, he's big to boxing people in the boxing world, but as far as crossover, the mainstream media, he's not that big ticket seller. Okay?
Because he doesn't, and you know, a lot of reasons he doesn't speak English yet.
Well, that is the weight class. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now I think he's en route I think these Mikey Garcia fights and stuff like that, if they ever happen, will be a big step for him.
Well,
but so that's why that's why he got paid what he got paid.
I think
his
Triple
last
G's
fight.
made that transition into superstar status.
Oh, he has, because and a lot of it is because he's being feared so much too.
He speaks English.
He speaks English, but he gets out there like, man, the people that are not diehard boxing fans, they hear those people, just a little chitter chat going around,
knocks
like
everybody out.
Yeah, he knocks it. He's a devastating puncher, and he brutalizes people when he fights them, and these people are afraid to fight him. That grabs the attention of people who are not so much who watch boxing, but they watch the Mayweather fights.
Yeah.
They don't know boxing, and that's why the money's behind him, because you get the people, you get the celebrities and people that are going to attend these fights, and it just grabs. So these big time networks, these premium television networks, come in the baskets. If you're that guy, they're going to have you a big basket where you got more negotiating room. And if you're a guy that don't have that star power outside of the boxing world, you're not going to have a $20 million purse.
Exactly.
Or a basket with $20 million in it for them to be able to negotiate. Mm-hmm. So that's where it happens, and people don't see that side of or don't know that part of the boxing.
Exactly.
It's just automatically he's afraid, this, that, and it's bullshit.
It is, and I don't know. I kind of like the atmosphere of doing the show like this today. It was a pretty good experience. Yeah. What do you think?
Oh, I think so.
I mean, there's some things that we need to audio adjust and things like that, and that's going to take a little time. But I think I hear we're gonna start adding some video to our show too.
For sure.
So, like I said, a great show today, and I look forward to doing this next week. What do you think?
And we'll have some guests and everything too.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So, all right, guys, stay tuned.
All right, have a good day.